Hi, it's Neil here. Before we start today's show, I wanted to let you know that I've teamed up with my friends at HireEct this month. And HireEct is the first chat-based hiring app for startups. And what I love about HireEct is it takes everyone away from the dreaded email inbox and waiting around for responses. Think of it like WhatsApp for recruiting. And the HireEct app brings together recruiters and job seekers so they can directly connect with each other. And this allows recruiters and job seekers to communicate more and receive quick feedback. And the HireEct app also uses advanced technology to efficiently map job seekers and recruiters, all based on their preferences and behaviour. So you can improve your chances of reaching inbox zero, accelerate your hiring process 10 times faster than those traditional ways, all by chatting and interviewing candidates anytime, anywhere, on any device. So I invite you all to download the HireEct app for free from the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. That's HireEct, spelt H-I-R-E-C-T. Give it a try, let me know what you think. But on with today's show.
Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, today's episode was actually recorded way back on October the 1st, which was World Coffee Day. And on this podcast, I always try to take every aspect of our life that we don't associate with technology and learn how it's actually being transformed by it. And for example, when you think about coffee and chocolate, technology is the last thing on your mind, or it should be. But on Coffee Day, I learned more about the importance of supply chain traceability and why coffee and cocoa companies should be more transparent in their product journey. And I also learned how a company called Farmer Connect uses blockchain to track the life cycle of coffee and chocolate and connects the end product user to farmers, traders, roasters and brands. And the CEO of Farmer Connect, Michael Chrisment, has already helped secure $9 million in Series A investment for the platform that uses blockchain to track the life cycle of coffee and chocolate. And he now continues this mission to transform the agricultural supply chains by cleverly connecting farmers to consumers and everyone in between. But enough scene setting for me. Buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Switzerland, where Michael is waiting to share his story. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to converse this morning. I'm Michael. I'm 43. I'm French. I'm Swiss-based, so in the beautiful Lake Geneva, facing the Alps. Married, I've got two lovely children, 8 and 12. And some people call me Geeky Brandy for the combination of 20 years of love of tech and digital and some marketing and media sphere. So they could also add to that foodie because I'm a passionate cook and eventually motivated by matching the right wines with what I cook.
Man, there's so much to unpack there. So French, living in Switzerland, your passion for technology and food and everything in between. So I've got to ask, what is your origin story? Where did that passion for technology come from and what put you on this path you're on right now?
I think my dad is guilty of offering me my first computer at 6. It was an Amstrad CPC 6128. I still remember it.
Yeah.
So I think, the passion started there. And then I started coding. Then the internet came in. I was all in ICQ, Messenger, and all sorts of things at the time. And then it just added up devices, tech, platforms, and never stopped.
And what really stands out about your story is your love of the great outdoors, farming and technology, and how all those worlds have collided for you. And the path that you've been on obviously led you to Farmer Connect, which is a platform that allows consumers, farmers and retailers to all have insight into the complete supply chain of coffee and chocolate products. But all by using blockchain-based IBM technology, self-sovereign identity and artificial intelligence. But can you set the scene and tell the listeners a little bit more about what Farmer Connect is and also the kind of problems that you set out to solve? Because we all consume coffee and chocolate, but I suspect most people don't know what goes on behind the scenes there.
Yeah, so I'm guilty of not being the founder of Pharma Connect. So Dave Behrens is the founder. He had a specific vision in 2018 about the market and so on. And we started the company in 2019. So we really joined when I joined a year back. We were 6. Now after Series A and acceleration, we're 26. So really, what we want to solve is the issue between the value that is shared and the demand. There's an increasing demand about coffee itself, and the value is not well shared. So we want to share that a little bit more. Our vision is to humanize consumption through technology, and we definitely believe that technology can help creating more shared value across supply chain for those commodities and more.
And for someone listening to us now, eating a bar of chocolate with a cup of coffee, just to better understand the problem, can you tell me a little bit more about why coffee and cocoa companies should actually be more transparent in their product journey?
Yes, well, today is International Coffee Day, so it's a really exciting day to be talking about that. There is quite little incentive to continue producing coffee and cocoa. I mean, the demand, as I said, is exploding. If you're projecting 2050, this is 3 times the demand, but the prices are pretty stable. So you need to solve that, because if you're a farmer, you have very little reasons to actually, push your children or your family or your partners to continue to produce. So the reason for that is in front of our eyes, and the transparency will help, because then it will give people more trust and more reasons to buy the produce, and incentive across the board. That's very important, that every single player, from the farmer to the consumer and everyone in between, gets a reason to move into a more transparent world.
And for people listening, again, that are outside of the industry, why is supply chain traceability in this area? Why is that so important?
People want to know more. That's a fact. I mean, there's a recent study that was released in the UK by Deloitte that was showing that businesses need to plan for ways they can make their product more sustainable and build more accountability into their value chain. The research really shows that, and it's been further accelerating with COVID. It's a key consideration. Sustainability is a key consideration for consumers. There's about a third of them that are willing, to highly engage with companies that are adopting a more sustainable practices, and even a good fourth of them, 28%, are willing to stop buying certain product due to ethical and environmental concerns. So people need to trace their supply chain to be more transparent, because across the board it shows, and that's the demand. And if you're looking at younger generation, this is even more. Gen Z, 50% of them reduced how much they buy, and 45% of them stopped purchasing certain brands because of ethical and sustainability concerns. So, those guys, they're coming into the world. They're spending more, and they're spending differently. So without trust, without that traceability, without that transparency, without sustainability at the core, you're about to lose business. So it's important people move.
And just to help everyone listening understand how Pharma Connect is allowing consumers, farmers and retailers to have insights into that complete supply chain of the coffee and chocolate products that we're talking about here, do you have possibly a use case that you could walk us through, just to help people understand the difference that you're making here?
Yeah, well, actually, if you sit in the UK, the best way is to go to Waitrose or Cado and buy one of our client product, which is orangutan coffee from UCC. So let's picture you're sitting in an aisle, you're buying that product, you have the pack in your hand, then you take your phone, you flash the QR code, which now we're all doing for all sorts of things following COVID, even for the drink menu at the restaurant. You flash that QR code and then you land on the page. You don't need to register. You don't need to share your data. You don't need to download an app. You get on a web page and you're going to be told the story of the product. details about the quality of the product, where it's coming from, who produced it. And you're going to see a map that's going to show you every single step that the product has taken from its origin to you in the store. And you'll see the detail, and that would be provided and verified by different technology, including blockchain. And then below the map, you will see a last thing, which is eventually for that very brand, a project or a few projects that are related to the life of the farmers. So sustainability projects on the ground to save the habitats of orangutan in Indonesia. And you as a consumer can even contribute with, £1, £2, £5 directly to that project, and Farmer Connect will trace back your contribution to those projects and will verify that the payment is made at the origin. So that's the type of use case experience you would get out of people working with us and using our various products.
And for the techies listening that want to take a little look under the hood or behind the curtain at the tech that makes all this possible, can you tell me a bit more about that and ultimately why you chose blockchain for this as well?
Yeah, blockchain is an important part of what we do. It doesn't start with blockchain. It starts with one technology called SSI, so self-sovereign identity, which is powering our first product, which is called Farmer ID, which is basically a sort of a electronic wallet we put in the hands of the farmers. And then it goes after the first mile where we gather data from farmers. It goes onto the blockchain. And we're in partnership with IBM Food Trust on that. We have a private instance within IBM Food Trust. It's on a Hyperledger based and private instance. And then it goes into other more web-based technologies and solutions for the consumer engagement part. And then I would say once, as we grow and as we move into a higher volume of data, other technology come in play like AI, machine learning, automation, so that we make sense out of the data we gather for our clients, and they are transformed for them into tangible and actionable insights. And you would need other technology to manage this at scale.
One of the things I love is how you're using technology to transform this agriculture supply chain by cleverly connecting farmers and consumers and indeed everyone in between. But I'm curious, what kind of feedback have you received from people there and your customers? Because that is where the real magic happens, isn't it? When you've solved that real problem and you begin to hear the stories. Do you get to hear that?
Yes. Well, first of all, when you hear from the farmers that they are so excited by being able to know where their produce is going. Even down to the fact that, a cocoa farmer in West Africa has never tasted a piece of chocolate, for example. So that's the emotional feeling they get out of the fact that they're super proud of what they do. And now people can know them and know where it's coming from, and they can eventually communicate with them. So I think the human aspect of this is very important. Then obviously there are hard facts also as well. I mean, we see consumers being super excited, and it shows. They spend in between 1.5 to 4.5 minutes on our pages when they land through a QR code, with an average of 2.16 minutes. When and when you talk to any marketer, when you give those type of time spent and consumer engagement, they are really looking at you with interest, because this is nowhere near the average time you spend on a typical website. Brands are also super happy because when they leverage technology like that, they sell more. It works. People are responding with sales, and we're seeing that. One of our recent clients sold all their volume in 2 months instead of 1 year. They had planned for a year. In a couple of months, all the products were gone. And we've worked with Amazon on doing some A/B testing about products featuring our technology and not featuring our technology. And the click rates and the buy rates are 25% higher. Leveraging our technology. So all in all, all the lights are green. and farmers also are super happy. They get to see premium coming back their way, and receiving concrete also premium and cash payments with coffee and cocoa featuring traceability. But I would say there's more. And we need to show that. We need to work harder and making impact and positive impact, specifically in the origin country. We shouldn't stay with the good numbers and continue to push for impact.
And I suppose for many people listening, the world of farming and agriculture, etc., that you don't associate with high-tech and complex technologies. Are you noticing a real embracing by the farming community of technology?
Yes, well, it's quite moving to see, how much technology is embraced by the local communities, even in very poor and developing countries. And when you see the rise of mobile payment in Africa, for example, you understand that as soon there is value, people embrace technology. We still have issues about connectivity. I think this is something that we and governments and regulators and big IT and tech company and telcos should work harder on, because it is very, I think, important to continue to develop further connectivity so that the world is better connected. And that links to the last comment I was making on the previous question, is the farmers' impact and what type of impact we have on farmers. And it's true that we can have, impact in terms of cash payment, premium, but there's more to it. And we shouldn't be complacent about the type of impact we should have in the origin country. Finance is one, but also belonging to a community, sharing more knowledge, having direct contact down the line in other places amongst them also as well. There's more to it, and technology can help.
Love that. And what's next for Farmer Connect? I appreciate it's probably not too much you can share, but is there anything you can share about the road ahead and leave any members of your community that are tuning in with a bit of a teaser for what's on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, today is International Coffee Day. We're super happy to launch in Japan, where we've launched a new version today in Japan in partnership with a local company and one of the most famous world baristas. So super excited about that. Super excited about the new features we're bringing to the market with gamification, with influencers, notes, and all sorts of new exciting figures. And I would say more down the line, but what excites me even more is the type of benefits we can bring to the farmers and the impact we have. And down to that, there are ideas, there are development features which are coming in cooking, which I hope we can release as soon as possible.
And a question I always like to ask my guests, especially as we start the podcast talking about your origin story and what put you here, is what was the soundtrack to your career in technology? Is there a particular song or piece of music that you always come back to? And is a song and a story that we can add to our Spotify playlist today?
Oh, yes, please do. And I've chosen I'm So Excited from the Pointer Sisters. It's a bit cheesy, but it's so energizing and funny, and it brings people together. So I love that song.
I don't know about you, but I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it.
Like it.
I love it. Well, I'll add that to the playlist. But before I let you go, if anyone wanted to find out more information about anything we've talked about today or contact your team, what's the best way of doing that?
So besides TikTok, which I have a passion for, which I probably shouldn't reveal, you can find us everywhere. I mean, on website, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also in real life, because coffee is something to share. So we have our offices in Geneva, Switzerland. We have people all over the world in Switzerland, other places, Brazil, Colombia, Netherlands, France, Germany. So get to see people face to face also. That would be great if you can. Stay safe. And if you want to get to me directly, please email me at michael@farmerconnect.com.
Well, I suspect that we've all drank coffee and ate chocolate at some stage of our life, but seldom do we think about the whole life cycle of that and how that end product gets there from farmers, traders, and brands, etc. And the way that you're doing this and using technology, specifically blockchain, is incredibly cool. It's great for me to understand how all that supply chain works and how you bring in greater transparency. But more than anything, it was your human story. So thank you for sharing that with me today and giving me Pointer Sisters earworm for the rest of the day too.
Thank you so much, Neil. And I look forward to everyone singing and dancing all day. Happy International Coffee Day.
The world of consumer goods is changing for the better. And technology is at the forefront of this transformation to answer the demands for a more sustainable and ethical supply chain. But as always, I invite you to let me know your insights. Maybe you work in the industry and you've got something else to add to this. If you have, let me know. If you've got any questions, let me know. If you'd like to come on the podcast, guess what? Let me know. So email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. My website is techblogwriter.co.uk. And my social channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, etc. You just look for Neil C. Hughes. But that's it for today's episode. So a huge thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.